In this lesson, you will learn about inserting images into HTML websites. First, you're going to review tags and attributes. Then you will learn about inserting an image into a website. Finally, you will learn how to change the width and height of that image. First, a quick review. Let's start with tags. A tag is a piece of HTML code that tells your web page what to do. You've been using many tags since we've started learning about HTML. For example, you've used the doc type tag, the paragraph tag, the break tag, the heading tag, the strong tag. Today, you're going to be using one tag, the image tag. Tags are made up of abbreviations, such as IMG, and they are always found inside of carets. The other term we're going to be using today is attributes. We have not used this term as much, but you have heard it before. An attribute goes inside of the tag, and it provides extra information about something. In this case, extra information about your tag. It has two parts, a name and a value. For example, within an image tag, you have many different types of attributes. The one that's the most important is the source attribute. The source attribute tells the computer where to locate the picture or image it's displaying. The first part, the name, is the source, or SRC. Then every attribute has an equal sign and quotation marks. The value is always located inside of the quotation marks. For the source attribute, the location of the picture is inside of the quotation marks. That location is either the place on a server, the computer's hard drive, or the internet. Another attribute would be the height or width of an image. Height or width would be the name. And the value in quotation marks would be the numerical height or width in pictures. More on that later. For now, we're going to get started on inserting a picture into your website. It's time to insert your picture. So first, let's learn about the image tag. The image tag is used to put an image into the website. It's caret img caret. It must contain the source attribute for it to actually show an image, or else you just have a little piece of code that does nothing. So it's actually going to be a lot longer. It'll end up looking like my example code on the right, or even longer to show something like my cup of Starbucks coffee at the bottom. The beautiful thing about HTML is you can copy and paste image URLs or image locations, and you can also copy and paste the full code if you already have it written elsewhere to make your life a little bit easier. You must, however, type the caret image src equals quotation marks and the address today in your work. So now we're going to head out online and create our first image tag and place an image into our website. I'll see you out there. The first thing you are going to do today to place an image in your website is do a Google Images search for the image you would like to use. I chose this cup of coffee, so I will right-click on it and copy the image address or URL, and then hop into the web page we created last week on Mozilla Thimble and go right here into line 9 where we left a blank. Now, we're going to begin typing the code for inserting an image, which we said was caret img. Now we need to type the attribute for source, src equals quotation marks. Now I'm going to paste that image URL. I right click, I click on paste, I close my quotation marks, and I close the caret, and you will see the cup of Starbucks coffee image I picked has appeared on my website. Now that you have an image put on your website, it's time to change the width and height. Changing your width and height is important to make sure your image fits in the place you have for it. Maybe it's too big, maybe it's too small, maybe you want that cup of coffee to be grande sized or even bigger. When you're changing the width and height, it's important to make sure you're changing both the width and height if necessary, so your image doesn't get all funhouse mirror looking where it's really tall and skinny or really short and fat and is disproportionate to itself. So you may have to use both the width and height, even though most images do stay proportional. So you may have to use one or two attributes depending on the image. So these attributes are going to obviously be used to change the width and height of a picture. And the one thing is you have to change the height and width of pictures based on pixels. And I, like you, am not very well versed in pixels. So I have to do a lot of guessing here just like you do. Although I found that an image that's about the size, about 3 inches tall and wide, is about 240 pixels. So that's a good frame of reference. 240 pixels, about 3 inches on a basic computer screen. So what you're going to do, looking at my example code, is right after your source code, you'll put height equals, and you'll just chain in your quotation marks, you'll put a number, and then you'll play around with that number until it's like you like it. If it starts to look a little funhouse mirror, you also may have to add the width. Once the image is as you like it, you leave it go, and you continue on in your web page making. I'll see you online, and we'll give this a try. Now that I have the image located in my website, it's time to start changing the height and width so the image fits a little bit better on my website. I'm going to type the height attribute because I believe this image will stay proportional without typing both, equals, quotation marks, and I'm going to type any number I want. I'll type 1,000 and quotation marks. 1,000 pixels is obviously much too large for my website, so I'm going to go a little smaller, maybe down to 100. Now it's a little smaller than I wanted it, so I'm just going to continue to play with numbers of pixels until it's at the size I want it. 240 looks like a good size for me. It did stay proportional, so I'm good. And when I have it set that I don't get any exclamation points over by the number 9, my code is fine. My image has been sized appropriately, and I've completed placing an image appropriately in my website. Next week, we're going to come back to our images and add more attributes into our image to make them even more complete and comply with the W3C's HTML5 regulations, such as tooltips and alternative text, which increases accessibility for visually impaired users and for search engines. So I will see you next time on our HTML journey.